Hey everybody, this is TJR. If this is your first time here, welcome to the channel. And if not, welcome back. It is Wednesday, May 8th, 2024. And I've just finished watching the new 2024 remastering of the 1970 film, Let It Be. A few days ago, I discussed the film prior to its release. I know there were some people who thought that maybe there might be changes made to the original film, and I felt no, there wouldn't be, simply because Peter Jackson, being a filmmaker himself, understands a filmmaker's original intention and vision, and that he would just serve as basically helping to remaster the audio and the video, and that's all. And it turns out that that is true, although there is one little extra thing that was added. Let It Be, at least on Disney Plus now, opens with a brief little preamble, a brief conversation between Peter Jackson and director Michael Lindsay Hogg. During this interview, Michael Lindsay Hogg reflects on the fact that the film that he started to make at the beginning was going to go in one direction, but then ended up going in a completely different direction than what was originally planned. He went in thinking he was going to be filming a concert with the footage in at Twickenham Studios and at Abbey Road being just a preamble, but ended up making a documentary instead. By the way, those of you who were concerned that there was too much DNR on Get Back, it does look to me like the restoration retains a lot more of the grainier look of the original film, thus giving it its own visual identity separate from Get Back. Now, as I talk about this restoration, of course, audio-wise, visually, it's never looked better. It's never sounded better. Of course, for the last couple decades now, and probably longer, all any of us have ever been able to compare it to is a bootleg DVD. So it looks and sounds great. I think you're all going to be happy. I wouldn't have expected any less after watching Get Back. In fact, comparing this and contextualizing it is impossible without taking Get Back into consideration. And so getting back to the whole preamble, during that conversation, Peter Jackson discussed how at the time that Michael Lindsay Hogg was making the movie, no one who was there during the filming had heard these songs before. And how now, in the present day, as they were working on the documentary Get Back, and as audiences watched it, we all had the benefit of decades of hindsight, and we know all these songs. In fact, he even said that as we were working on it, we're singing the lyrics to them because they don't know the lyrics yet. They're still figuring out these songs. And I think this rolls over into the perspective of an audience back at the time this film was released, probably not being at all aware of or used to the idea of seeing a band, or any band for that matter, much less the Beatles, struggling to figure out their songs, basically working their way through the creative process. I really do think, looking back, that a lot of people, and probably myself included, I mean, I was a teenager in the 70s, but I think a lot of us just kind of always thought that these songs came out fully formed, that there was no process or struggle involved in getting them to their final form in the way that we hear them once they're released. So I think that is part of what might have put Let It Be into a negative light, because people watched this and they said, oh my gosh, they don't even know how to play their own songs, or they can't seem to even figure out their songs. And I kind of have a feeling that might have left a negative impression on viewers back then, seeing their creative process so nakedly exposed. But it's true. I mean, writing songs, I've written songs, and writing songs is always, 1% inspiration, 99% perspiration. Only once in my life has a song just literally just spat out of me fully formed, or almost fully formed. Only once in my whole life. It's always a lot of work getting there. Now, again, watching Let It Be in contrast to Get Back, I have to admit that the first part of Let It Be feels meandering. and without any real narrative focus until we get to the Rooftop concert. We don't really get any context for what was happening at the time. When you watch this film, and when I watched it for the first time back in the day, I didn't know they were working on a potential TV special, that they were writing new songs for a new album, and this would be also their first live concert in quite a few years. I was, of course, very young and, didn't know that much about the Beatles, but I'm willing to bet that there were a lot of people in the audience who watched this film that maybe didn't quite understand some of that, if not all of it. The TV special, of course, never happened. Also, this film is less than an hour and a half. I mean, 15 minutes in, and we've already moved over to Abbey Road Studios now. And there is so much that has happened during this time that we are now very much aware of because we've had the benefit of watching Get Back. Things like George Harrison quitting the band. Whereas first-time watchers of the film in 1970, I'm going to guess probably were not aware of this, at least the majority. Also, with the exception, of course, the Fab Four and possibly Yoko, I have to think that in the pre-internet information age, that a lot of people probably would not have known who half of the people on screen were. Whereas in Get Back, Peter Jackson makes sure that you know who is who throughout in the film, and he does that through the use of titles. He makes sure that you know that the first time Michael Lindsay Hogg appears on film, that he titles that's who this is. That's Mal Evans, the band's road manager and assistant. That's George Martin, their producer on all of their albums up to this point. And I know some of you may scoff at someone for not knowing who George Martin is or was, but I am not sure personally that a good portion of the audience of 1970 would necessarily have known George Martin by sight. And I'm sure that a lot of them probably didn't know who Billy Preston was, but just simply, here's this guy who suddenly is now playing piano with them. Why is he there? Who is he? Of course, as a kid during the early 70s, I wouldn't have known who he was, although I would have been familiar probably with some of his radio hits. I may not have put the two together at that point. As I said earlier, we don't get any kind of real narrative in Let It Be till we get to the Rooftop concert, when we see and hear the Beatles playing, their reactions to each other, the reactions of the crowd who is watching and listening, the reactions of the police trying to shut it down. And that's where we get some narrative, a little bit of a through line. Whereas Get Back gives the audience a narrative from start to finish, all throughout the whole 3 episodes. So with that said, a few quick observations. There is a moment in the film where you have Ringo and George working on Octopus Garden. It's still, in its rough stages, but they've got the chorus down really well. And George Martin is there singing some little counter melodies to the main melody that Ringo is singing. And getting to see this, you can see how George Martin was always contributing to their songs. He was always coming up with ideas to help enhance their songs. 30 minutes into the film, we get these, of course, wonderful, fully realized performances of Two of Us, Let It Be, and The Long and Winding Road. Not the specific versions that we'll get on the album, but fully realized versions. And of course, everybody's talked about these performances, and I've only seen them on bootleg DVD. And these performances are worth the price of admission alone. And of course, then we get the Rooftop concert, which is great fun. It was great fun in Get Back. It's great fun here. But again, I would say that, again, the happier moments of Let It Be now seem more pronounced, now that we've seen more of the full picture of this time period as presented in Get Back. So it does give you kind of a more balanced view of Let It Be when you watch it. Also, the restoration of the picture just makes it look a little less dreary. And I think that was part of it. As we all watched it on bootlegs, it just kind of had a dreary look to it, especially the Twickham studio sequences. So I guess what I'm saying is I like Get Back better, but I would tell anyone who is not familiar with the Beatles to first listen to the album Let It Be for about a month before watching either film. Regardless, though, I'm glad we have this now. I'm glad we have both. I know that fans have wanted this film for a very long time. And I know that we're all very glad that we can finally get rid of our bootleg DVDs. I couldn't even find mine anymore. I don't know where it is. Just like with Get Back, where we got a Blu-ray release after the fact, I'm sure we're going to get a Blu-ray release of Let It Be as well. You never know. We might even get a box set with both in case you missed it the first time around. But those are my thoughts. Let me know yours. I'm anxious to hear what you have to say. Please leave a comment. As always, if you like these videos, be sure to hit like, hit subscribe, and hit the bell notification icon so you never miss a video. A big thank you and shout out to my Patreon supporters. Patreon supporters do receive exclusive weekly videos not available on this channel. And if you can't be a Patreon supporter, I understand. You can leave a one-time super thanks for any video that I post. And if you can't do that, I still understand. Just click like and you will help this channel a great deal. Clicking like helps the YouTube algorithm recommend this channel and the videos that we post here to more people. Everybody, thank you so much for watching. I hope you all stay safe and healthy. We'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.